that now says we are live.
We are live.
So we are the Mad Scientists. I'm Mad Frankie. This is Violet Igel over here.
I'm back.
And together we make the Mad Scientists. Oh, I'm too far off. There we are. That's a better size. Very good. Very good. So, there she goes. I've got here three pieces I was doing before, which you may or may not see this
Follow up.
duration, the previous bit. I've got the bit where it started, but I then went and removed the masking fluid and went over this one. And I did a good most of the work on this one, so whether we can get that one sorted or not, I don't know. And this one I want to do some more on, but not on this particular one. I'd like to do it on another sheet, on a block, in a slightly different way. Because on the other side of this, we've got the swatches of the Boku Undo and the Kuretake Gansai Tembi graphites. Plus, I went and used this masking marker, Goya masking marker.
Very nice.
I used it on here. It took a bit of pumping to get the thing to start up. You know, rather like an old-fashioned car. So, and it doesn't give a lot of fluid. So I've got to put some watercolor over it, just a wash to see what happens, and then when it's dry, peel this off. I'm probably going to need to use an eraser to do that because this is quite fine. And somebody did mention it's not the best idea to use your fingers because your hands can have natural oils in them, and that can get onto the paper and make it not quite as good as it should be. So that's something to think about. So I'll put that down for now. I'll just get this salt off here just to get that ready. I've moved most of it around, so it should be ready. There's just some bits that are a bit stubborn there and there. But I think that's about as good as it's going to get. I don't want to tear the paper. So I'll dump the salt. I don't need to save the salt. I've got so much saved salt.
There you go.
There we are. Yes, I've ordered a new camera, which I hope is going to be better at the focusing and so forth. But it won't be here until tomorrow, and then I've got to figure out how to use it. So this one we'll put aside for now. And this one we'll take a look at because I'm scared of this one. Because I quite like what has happened so far. So I'm sort of wondering what I should do with it. I've got some options. I want to put a little bit of definition, and by that I mean a very, very little bit of definition. Because I love the looseness of this, but it needs a little tiny bit of something. So I'm thinking ink, but I don't want to go too mad. I don't want to put ink everywhere. You know, I don't want to define the whole thing because that would negate the whole idea of a loose watercolor. And as you can see, this is looking quite nice at the moment. We've got some lovely patterning in the watercolors, and it's really got some beautiful colors. All these bits here and there, you see? Really rather nice. So we don't want to take away from the focus away from that. So what I've got Oak Gall ink. I've got India ink. I've got the traditional Chinese silver black. I've got gold and a different shade of gold. I'm not even considering the red because no, I don't want that. But I've also got Diatramentis cyan blue copper. You can see that the copper is there. Needs shaking up to use. Or there's black Ecoline liquid watercolor. Not sure about that one. Or there's this calligraphy ink, dark blue Winsor & Newton. Not even sure how much is in there. Oh, it's a bit. So I'm sort of wondering about this. I'm thinking that the India ink is going to be too black and too obvious. That's what I'm thinking. I'm not saying that others aren't going to be obvious, but I think that's going to be too much so. Same with the Ecoline Black. I'm tending towards this Oak Gall ink, which is dark, but if I'm doing it with this or with a little wispy brush, I may be able to get away with just a little bit, you know, without having too much on there. So I've got a little liner here, Daler-Rowney number 10. That could work as well. So those are my options, I'm thinking. Or I can use one of these color shaper tools and put it on like we were doing with masking fluid earlier in the previous video. So that's possible. I'm thinking that I quite like the idea of this, but I'll need a test page, something of the sort, to the side. So I've got something to wipe off excess colour. Didn't mean to do that. Now, what's this here? Is that usable? Yes, it is. It's just a sheet of nothing paper with a scratch note on it. So if I move these out of the way, there we are. I'll have a sheet there. So this was bought Oak Gall ink because I didn't at the time have any Oak Galls. Couldn't find any. I was going round and round the garden like mad and nothing was there. So I went and bought some. Now that's a broad nib. That's a pointier nib, I think. Let's see what happens. I like that. I think that's ephemeral enough. Just got to be so careful not to knock it over. So I just want to do some little bits. Not as strong as that. So let's have a piece of tissue. That's not so bad, actually, mopping it up like that. I might keep that by me. Still too much. You see what I mean about having to be more gentle and less emphatic. I don't want to go all the way around the whole thing, you see. Just want a vagueness. I mean, you can probably barely see it, but that's as good as it gets, I think. What I'm doing there is keeping drawing on here until I think there's less of this left. And if they get too much, well, soak it up. It seems to work quite nicely. That's too much. Yes, the pale fadier look is what I'm going for. Better when there's hardly any ink left on the tool, I think. And there's another one here. Soak some of that up. Some more in the air here. So it's just a suggestion. I mean, this is sort of minimalism, isn't it? And impressionism, almost. A little bit more again. Oh, that's too dark. Now that did not go on that stem, but then neither did that, and I like that. It's purely accidental. I don't know how people do it deliberately. Maybe they don't. Oh, and a little bit down here. That's enough. I don't want any more than that. You see what I mean about really minimalist? So it hasn't taken away from the ephemeral nature. It's just put that tiny bit of emphasis in. I hope that's enough. I'm really quite pleased with this, much more so than I was when I first put the masking fluid on. I think it's worked out quite well. The colours really make it. Thank goodness for watercolour, eh? Well, we can take this one off now. But before we do anything, let's put the lid on that dangerous ink. Woo! That was dodgy. Now, where's my implement? It's already almost off anyway. It's coming apart all the time. I ought to sign this one. Quite like it. I never used to sign anything on mine. I mean, what was the point? Wasn't doing anything with them. So let's have one tiny little dab back. I'm going to put it on the left-hand side where it's most discreet. I know some people will sign theirs always the same way. But how can you tell where it's going to be the least noticed? And I'm sorry about the camera going in and out. So there you go. Lovely. We'll get that one to one side. Now, I can do similar with this, but this is rather dull, isn't it? Because the red was quite a granulating thing, and it dried much lighter. It was the maroon, wasn't it? The maroon, I think. And I used some Payne's Grey, I think. Can't remember. Probably. I could use gold. Can certainly use some gold. And I prefer this colour gold to this one. Need a little something. I'll tell you what, the top of that water pot would do it. Can act as a little palette. Okay. Perhaps I'll try with that little liner now. Thinking just some little bits. Nothing too special, just some little lines to sort of delineate something. This is really an extreme close-up, isn't it? If this is a poppy flower, and it's from the Jean Haynes book with the instructions for doing a poppy, which I did not follow, not very well, but we've got something anyway. Not necessarily in the same sort of colours she was doing. She was much nicer, much more brilliant red and things, but I'm not a brilliant red sort of person. It doesn't quite work for me. And I'm thinking to do some black in here, but I was thinking to do that with something more like one of these. If I have a smaller one, I'd like a really small one. I'll have to have a look in my tub in a minute or two. I don't think there's any in this one. There's white ones. You could do white. 2 white pens here. This round a bit so we can get some more bits in there. Yeah. Now if I wipe that up, oh, I've got a wet tissue there. That's all right. Goody. And clear that up so that's no longer there. Right. So I was going to use that. Is there a? There isn't one in there. Now I can't see any other of my pens anywhere, so I've only got this biggie, which is quite big. I mean, I may get away with it. Let's see. To do some little bits, just to emphasize them just a little bit. I was thinking more of doing little bits like that, you see. You can barely see it there, can you? You can see it, but not much.
That's all right. We'll see the final product and it'll make a difference.
I think I might do some white in it as well, because I'm putting this in the lighter areas. That seems to be my instinct. Whether it's a good idea or not, I don't know. Lovely granulation and different shades with the salt dragging things together. Beautiful. Really like that. So let's try some of the white. Which one's the Signo? It's the better of the two. Signo. There we go. That's interesting. When I'm putting the pen tip down, it's doing part of the nib. It's not doing a complete circle. It's lovely. I like that angled look. After all, I'm going for more ephemeral things here, more looser style of things, and I think that's lovely. Now there's some spots, some irregular shapes created by the salt. Well, luckily most of the salt is gone. There's some still on here, little shiny patches and things, but I seem to be able to still put some colour down. I'm using the shapes that the salt has created to just put these dots in those areas. You know something? I think that's all I want to do. It's nice and vague. You see what I mean? It's not a complete thing. It's imagine the poppy has sort of given up a lot of its seed and there's just these little bits left. Yeah?
Yep.
I like that idea. I think that's pretty good. Was there anything on the other side? Oh, there was. This was the other one
Oh, yes.
where I tried to do something else in a similar sort of vein, but
Yep.
not quite.
Use the masking fluid for those spots.
Yep. And I used the blue here, which did not spread anywhere near as much as these colours did. But there we go. So let's put a little Signy Wigny on that one. I'll do it down here. There we go. Lovely. I like that. I think that's nice and ephemeral and loose. That's I'm heading in the right direction, I think. I really do. Quite pleased with that. Didn't think I was going to be able to do it, but you've got to keep your mind on what you're doing all the time. You can't sort of go back and then decide you're going to do things in great detail, because that would just destroy the whole idea. Or I can't anyway. What colour shall I go over that with? Well, let's be really brash and use this. Does it have something written on the back? It's not in the box like it was in another box. There we are. Vermilion. Well, that's a good colour. So let's do a vermilion wash over there. Water. I really want to use this, but it's not the right occasion, unfortunately. I think this requires a quill. That one would be fine.
Oh, I'm so sad. I don't have a vermilion. I have Rose Madder, Rose Madder Deep, Red, and Scarlet.
Oh, Scarlet would do.
Scarlet is cadmium scarlet, no less. That is quite.
That was lovely.
That is definitely a Valentine red.
There we are. Put some water on to allow it to encourage it to move a bit, because I want it to float about and create lots of patterning. In fact, while I'm here, I might yes, I think I might use some of this, some sort of beige, I think. That's lovely. I like that. That's got some nice movement in it. Good. Okay. Well, that's ruined that large pot of water. It happened to be the one that was open. Super. So that we can set aside to dry. And we can find out how that masking fluid works. Trying to get that hair out. I really don't like it when hairs try to join in. Rabbits are all right, but not hares. Don't need that anymore, I don't think. Not at the moment anyway, so we'll bung it over there, out of the way. Right, here we go. This is not how she did it. Suddenly remembered this is not how she did it. What she did, let's get a clean pot of water She did. So, indigo, we can tell which one is indigo because look, there's a little hole in it. It's all right. I have a new indigo here. There we go. Indigo already. Let's take this one out and put that over there. Get lots of lovely colour. Now, I'm going to do one over here. This is something that I don't know whether it's going to be easier for people to do with a smaller palette or a big palette like this. I don't know. You've got to be quite quick to do it before it all dries, so she says. And tip it is another thing you should be doing. Trying to be as fast as I can. She said the watercolour won't go where it has not been invited in. Say so. I didn't mean to do that. Suddenly getting some nice runs here, aren't I? I think from what I saw that she might have gone around the holes again just to emphasize the shape. nice. There's a lot running down here. Quite interesting. I think I can leave that now. I think that's got some nice streaks going on. And I might put a bit of salt on as well. She didn't say so, but I like salt. So where did I put the salt? I'm going to put a little bit of salt here. Yeah, I don't want to put any more on than that. Again, trying to be abstemious. I'm so inclined to put too much of anything on anything, simply because I like this and I want more, you know. But it's not necessarily the best way. If you like something, it's sometimes better to put it in isolation and have other plain areas beside it, you know. So that's what I'm trying to train myself to do. Right, move this to another location. Some books, and this is the first one. I'm looking at them in order of publication. So this is one of 3 books I've got by Rolina van Vliet, Painting Abstracts, and I thought it was going to be all acrylic, but it isn't, because this one is working in water with salt or ink, which is lovely. I don't know how many others talk about watercolor materials, acrylic medium, acrylic paper. Diffused glass of acrylic paint. Most of it, I think, will turn out to be acrylic paint. Acrylic paint. But actually, some of the things she's talking about in here, you don't need to just do in acrylic paint. You can do similar exercises in watercolor, and you've actually got more going on with watercolor half the time. Now, this is something I think that would work better in acrylic, getting it to scumble into each other. I like this here. She says in the composition here, we do not prepare the composition beforehand, but it evolves by the distribution of color during the painting process. Well, if that's not me, I don't know what is. That's definitely me. But these are really interesting books. Really, really interesting. She talks a lot about different exercises here. She's been teaching for, how long is it? It does say somewhere.
Well, that book was published in 2008.
No, he doesn't like these books. Anyway, these are lovely books, by the way. This one is Abstracts 50 Inspirational Projects. And this one is Techniques and Textures. I just like that the way she's talking about it, she's talking about method rather than about, oh, look, concentrate on a paintbrush. She's talking about method and technique rather than a set list of instructions. Yeah. So she says things like, let me get to one of the first ones. Yes, the lessons do not follow any special sequence as regard degree of difficulty. You can start at any of the lessons, decide what you have in mind, and then choose a lesson. The lessons vary in length, some are no more than half an hour. With others, you may be busy for a day. It is wrong to think that after doing a lesson, you will have that part of the course under your belt. I strongly advise you to repeat the lessons. Only then will you have acquired the technique, the sequence of work, and the respective imagery for yourself. Well, I found that doing this one a second time and trying to follow the proper method more, that worked a lot better the second time around. But I still liked the first one. It's just this is a different method. The other one, look at that. Look at this beautiful, beautiful starring going on here. Isn't that wonderful? From the salt, little grains of salt. Fabulous. That's what I hoped for. Didn't think I'd get that much, but that's good.
Go to there's 100 and I think I see 174 pages of this book. Go to the back of the book, the last pages. There's some beautiful art right there.
Yeah. There's one at the back here that I really liked.
Oh, yeah. And it's interesting. There's a lot of course in here. A lot of there's
acrylic paint,
material, composition, theme and project, learning about texture.
Yeah, I mean, this is collage. This is not just acrylic. It doesn't even mention, it does mention acrylic paint. Yeah. But I mean, we've done collage with acrylics before, haven't we? Like on the gel plate, you start off with something and then you add things on top. Same sort of idea.
That's actually a very informative book there.
Yes, because she's talking about the way to approach things rather than an exact method of doing this, you know? There's a lovely one somewhere here. I think this is nice. I like both of these two. These are really, really lovely. This is acrylic on paper where the shapes and letters, some are letters, some are just shapes, have been scored into the acrylic. This is one where, now how was this done? That was written onto the canvas with a fine painting brush, and then you go over it with other things, dulling it out here and there, and sort of obscuring bits here and there, which I like. That's nice. Look at that. Lovely colour. Lovely colour. And you can see what the shape is, but it's more ephemeral, more loose. I love this kind of thing. Oh, look at that. I like this. Especially lovely, lovely colours. Beautiful. Wouldn't that be nice to do? Let me show you a bit better. There you go. That's a better look at the colours.
I've got the book here.
Oh, have you? Right.
Go back. Go another page. Oh, wait. I missed one. You missed one.
This one. This one. I really love this one. I was trying to find this one. This is blocking out. This is where you do something on the canvas and then come back and cover up lots of it, leaving little patches of what was underneath. I love that idea. I really like that idea. Sorry, which page? Tell me what page.
What page are you on now?
That's 131. Did you mean that page?
134 is the one. 135.
Yeah?
Yeah. Oh, is that beautiful?
Sgraffito.
Yep.
That's scratching into colour, blocks of colour, and then scratching into it.
And these are simple little exercises and techniques to learn.
Exactly. That's exactly my point. Yes.
They're not a lot of information that you have to deal with. It's just she simplifies it. I like that.
This is using that crumpled foil or plastic, like plastic wrap. Mm-hmm. That idea on here. Yep. So it's all things that we're sort of familiar with, and it's just different exercises. I just love it. It really is informative. I couldn't.
And then page 125. Now there is some technique.
There?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I love the lines of the brushwork on there.
Yep.
That's gorgeous. Beautiful. Is it brush or is it a card going around and doing that? Pieces of cardboard or wood. I wouldn't be at all surprised if that's not a piece of cardboard doing that.
She says here paint is applied to a sheet of glass, a drawing is made into the paint, and then the paper is laid on the sheet. So this is like gel printing, but with a piece of glass,
Yeah,
which I've seen done before.
yeah, yeah. I've seen Yates Makes do things like that. Yes,
Yep.
among many others actually. An awful lot of people do things like that.
This is a great book.
It was so encouraging to come across this one with working in water with salt or ink, and it's using watercolor paper, yes, wax candle, India ink. Yes, is that lovely? Yes, I really like that. And then there's the other two books, of course. Oh no, here they are, down on the floor on the left-hand side. So this is the next one. This has got some lovely things in it as well. Look at that, look at that. That looks almost like three people seated around something. Or people standing up, you know.
Silhouettes.
Yeah.
Colorful silhouettes.
Mm-hmm. There's all sorts of different techniques like that. That's a relief technique. Or was it the next page? This one, relief technique. That's the relief technique. Yes. Interesting. And that's acrylic on canvas. I've got some canvases I need to do things with. Splash technique. Oh, look at the colours on this. Working with foil. Oh, I'd love to have a go at this. This is gorgeous. This is lovely. Oh, boy. Heavy gel or gesso, spread a layer onto the support. Tear off a few sheets of foil and press these onto the layer while wet. Press down so that the foil becomes creased. Press down firmly and make sure that the foil is properly fixed all over. Allow everything to dry. Apply a coloured glaze. The watery paint will run into the deeper areas of the creases. Repeat using other colours and allow everything to dry. Continue with opaque paint and a dry brush. Work with contrasting colours and cover some underlying parts of the image. Finally, gently wipe a dry brush and paint, dry brush technique, across the top of the creased foil, causing extra line features to become visible. It's just so lovely and yummy, isn't it? Beautiful. There's some more working with plastic wrap and stuff, or foil, maybe. Similar idea. Oh, that's nice. That is nice. I love that. Why is it that I have gone on browns these days? Do you find that you change the colours you like?
I have especially if I have a palette that allows me to do that.
Uh-huh.
So I can open my Kuretake graphite palette, and of course I'm going to stick with those colors. Those are the graphite colors.
Uh-huh.
It's limited. But if I go open the Kuretake or the Arteza, the Prang, I have a wider palette. Plus I have the let's say this correctly.
Yasutomo.
Yasutomo. I have those in metallics. So when I get to add color, metallic to color in the watercolors, that really, it's like, okay, now you have to change your palette. No more warm colors. We want to go with brighter colors so that the metallics make a difference.
Yeah. Yeah. Is your you mentioned what did you mention? You mentioned a palette, Arteza. Is that a pan palette or tubes?
Oh, I have no tubes, so it's pan. It's a.
Oh, that's nice.
Where is it? It's a metal. Here.
Oh, look at that.
I have not Arteza, Artistro.
Artistro. All right.
Artistro. So I have 48 colors. They're not as pigmented as the Kuretake, but I enjoy them. I like playing with them. Look at, I knocked them all out.
Oh,
I dropped
but
it and
you've also got those color change ones, haven't you?
color change one.
Those are in little bottles, aren't they?
No, I don't have any color change ones.
Yes, you
Watercolor?
do. Yes, no, not watercolor, acrylic.
Oh, I do have acrylics, yes. Oh, and I have the Amsterdam. These are all a mess. Now I'll have to sort them later. I have the Amsterdam Pearl.
Oh, lovely. Yes, those are
Oh,
nice. Really
yeah.
nice.
I'm excited to
Yeah,
get back to those. Not today,
yeah.
but I'm excited to get back to those.
Yeah, it would be nice to use some acrylics on a canvas instead of just doing gel plating. But then you can use gel plating with it. You can sort of do some gel plating first and then go off with what you got. The
And, you know,
difficulty I see is getting the gel plating to turn out okay on a canvas, especially a stretched canvas. You'd need something on the inside to keep it firm.
yeah, I have both canvas and I have mixed media paper, and I have canvas at various sizes on frames, you know. So yeah, I could do that if I ever had the time and the inclination and the brain cells.
Yeah. I need some glaze. I think I've got some gloss glaze, acrylic. I must check and see what I've got. Because I absolutely adore this. Don't you love this?
Speaking of glaze, yes, I'm looking at the book. My bonus daughter was just here for a few days, and she is lives out in LA, and she's learning pottery. And she had a whole gallery. Oh my gosh, she said her partner is like, you need to stop making stuff and give it away, or you know, because her apartment is filling up. But she has done so much with glazes and the results, because it's just sort of, you pour it on and see where it goes, almost like a paint pour or a gel printing. I've asked her to send me a bunch of pictures because I want to use them for inspiration for watercolor.
That'd be lovely. I'd like to see them.
Yeah, I'll share with you. They are gorgeous. Her pieces, she has a lovely imagination.
Wonderful.
Yep. But I can't wait to they were all on her phone, and she didn't want to send them to me one at a time. So she said when she got home, she'd work them back up into a compressed file and send them to me. There's a lot. No blood relation, but it's nice to know that there's another artist in the family. Woohoo!
Yeah. I like this, but I'm not sure about the straight lines of this kind of tape. It's rather like drywall tape, yeah? And I've got some like that, but I'm thinking it would be fun to cut it up into more wavy shapes and then just pick some out of a pile and use them. I think that would be interesting to do. Somebody's been painting in this book. They put a blob of paint on and it's torn the opposite page. Oh. Oh, look at that. Isn't that marvelous? Using foil and coarse sand. Ooh. Oh, this is just the best set of books I've seen in a long time. Wow. For mixed media and abstract stuff, this is definitely it. Isn't that lovely? No, don't do that. Stop and look at it. Stop it.
She's the thing is it's not just watercolor, it's mixed media. It's watercolor, acrylics, it's ink.
Lovely.
Yeah. That's people. Those are faces in the crowd.
Yep, definitely are. And this
that's
one.
My impression. That one I love.
Too. It almost looks like somebody playing pool with somebody behind them, or people sitting in theatre seats or something. I know, there's one. There's another.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some lovely ideas in here. Some absolutely gorgeous results. I just can't wait. And I'm not even going to look at that one because there's so much. I feel overloaded with this one already. So it's just so nice. I just thought I'd let you know what lovely. I think we're done.
Are we done?
Yeah, let's bring back. Let's not bother with that. Let's bring back what we did, which is this and this and this. So we completed some, and we did another one of one. There we are.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty good. I enjoyed that. Some really nice effects with that salt. I'm so glad I decided to add salt to it. So it really does make a difference.
Mm-hmm.
It would have just been a load of blobs like the previous effort. But this has really given it something else. I'm very pleased with that. And I'm so glad I managed to do this without going overboard. It's exactly what I wanted. That gentle, slightly far away sort of feel. As if you're dreamlike, sort of dreamlike. I like that very, very much. I'm really happy with that. I'll frame that one. I'll stick it on the wall. I haven't said that about many of mine, have I?
No, you haven't. I have, but you haven't.
Yeah. Well, this one's not too bad either, but I don't know. It's different. And I like that I used the black and the white in that randomy way, guided by the shapes created by the paint. I think that's really good. There we go. That's us for today. We are done. And we will say bye-bye. Oh, good, you come back. Good. So, thank you so much for joining. And I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did.
Bye-bye.
We've loved having you. There we go.